Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel once again, and welcome back to the Labyrinth. As always, I've got some poetry for you guys. If this, of course, is your first episode of Nigel from the Labyrinth, welcome, but if not, welcome back. But also, if this is your first episode, what I do, for the most part, with some exceptions, is I read poetry. So I got 5 poems in total, and without further ado, let's get right into it. So these first 3 are written by myself, of course, and then 2 from other poets, and it's gonna get interesting with the other poets at least. This first one is called Eternity. Eternity is a very long time. It is best to spend it with someone you care about. So, eternity, believe it or not, has quite a few definitions, at least to different people. For eternity is literal. You know, it's eternity. It's eternal. It's forever, or it's heading towards forever. For some people, eternity can feel like forever, but to spend that eternity with someone, or even something that you care about, whether it be a friend and a loved one, and a family member you always want to be close with, or a relationship. I think people often do associate with relationships, but yeah, that eternity, like spending that eternity with someone that you care about. Because if you're gonna be there forever, at least have it be with someone that you care about. At least if that's in the literal sense, or even the metaphoric sense, perhaps like being in that eternity until one of you passes away or one of you moves on or something. In which why I say eternity can have many definitions for different people, you know. But this next one is rope of thorns. A rope of thorns, holding on to something that you may hold near, but is killing you slowly, hurting your hand, spilling your blood. Do you hold the rope and continue to hurt yourself, or do you let go of the rope and let it drift away? And so, kind of an issue that a lot of us have run into, myself included, is holding on to things that we shouldn't really hold on to, and that I think is what's really described there. Or that rope of thorns, for instance, a rope to hold on, but the thorns, pierce your hand, pierce your skin, and so should you really be holding on to this thing, or should you just let it go? Sometimes, and it's what's necessary. You just gotta let it go, you know. This next one is called Deep Sea. In the depths of the ocean, vast and empty yet full, complex in its uncertainty, as I venture into the unknown, brimming with life and creatures, yet dead silent from the shore. The only sounds are the waves as they crash onto the shore. Of course, there's the two scariest places that people usually can think of is the ocean and outer space, because not just because of the vastness of them, but because of the unknown, not really knowing what's down there. But people do explore the ocean, and people do it for a living. You know, marine biologists and things like that explore it, having that sense of adventure or into the ocean. But it also really shows the unknown. I don't quite know what's going to be in the ocean, but you know what? I'm going to explore it anyway. I'm going to go through this ocean. And sometimes life can be an ocean or a sea. This technically is, the poem is called Deep Sea, but I did reference the ocean, so I immediately did get my bodies of water mixed up. But like exploring that vastness, exploring that unknown, just swimming through, you don't quite know what's going to be there, but you're going to explore it anyway. This next one is called Pastime with Good Company. And this is by Henry VIII, King of England. Pastime with good company, I love and shall unto I die. Grudge whoso will, but none deny. So God be pleased, this live will I. For my pastimes, hunt, sing, and dance. My heart is set, all goodly sport to my comfort. Who shall me let? Youth will have needs dalliance of good or ill some pastance. Company me thinketh then best, all thoughts and fantasies to digest. For idleness is chief mistress of vices all. Then who can say but pass the day is best of all? Company with honesty is virtue, and vice to flee. Company is good or ill, but every man hath his free will. The best ensue, the worst eschew. My mind shall be virtue to use, vice to refuse. I shall use me. Yeah, King Henry VIII didn't know he wrote poetry, so that's interesting to find. And I know I definitely mispronounced some of those words. It's kind of that that old English, but well, some of the things he's describing there, having that company, having good or bad company, spending that time with that company, kind of going back into the eternity poem that I was talking about earlier, or who you're spending your time with, and kind of more so, at least what I'm picking up from the poem, kind of going with emotions. Not all company will be good, but some will be not as good, but I'd go going through life. I live and learn essentially as you go through life, um, and spending time with hopefully good company as well, but kind of living and learning through life as you go. Which it sometimes, and I guess it kind of incorporates a couple of the poems. It kind of incorporates some of the elements of the deep sea poem as well. Oh, also having that. Also having that perhaps sense the unknown, but trying your best to trek through life anyway. And then this last poem is Mending Wall, and this is by Robert Frost. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen ground swell under it, and spills the upper boulders in the sun, and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair, where they have left not one stone on a stone, but they would have the rabbit out of hiding, to please the upping dogs. The gaps, I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made, but at spring mending time we find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line, and set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go, to each the boulders that have fallen to each, and some are loaves and some so nearly balls. We have to use a spell to make them balance. Stay where you are until our backs are turned, and we wear our fingers rough with handling them. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game. One on a side, it comes to little more. The hair where it is, we do not need the wall. He is all pine and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines. I tell him, he only says, good fences make good neighbors. Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder, if I could put a notion in his head, why they make good neighbors? Isn't it where there are cows? Well, but here there are no cows. Before I built a wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offense. And something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down, I could say. Elves to him, but is not hot elves exactly, and I'd rather he said it for himself. I see him there, bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top in each hand, like an old stone savage armed. He moves in darkness as it seems to me, not of woods only and the shades of trees, and the shade of trees, I should say. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, good fences make good neighbors. So, one of the things that I'm picking up in this poem that we can kind of see is kind of a conflict of ideals. This wall is up, and both the narrator, which could be Robert Frost himself, or could just be a totally disconnected narrator, but the narrator, or her and this neighbor have put up these walls. But it seems like the narrator wants them down. He's asking why we need to have these walls in the first place. But the neighbor is still all in on the wall, saying good walls make good neighbors, and that's exclusion and isolation, isolating themselves from each other through this wall. And so, kind of that feeling of I don't necessarily want to say loneliness, but kind of disconnect and kind of isolation, I think, is the most prevalent. And the narrator is kind of challenging this, saying, why should we have these walls up? It seems like he wants to take the walls down, but the neighbor's like, no, we're keeping the walls up. And we see him bringing stones to build the walls to keep them up, and he does repeat the line, good walls make good neighbors, meaning, you stay out of my business, I stay out of your business. Is we don't connect, we don't really associate, we just keep the wall up. And that's what happens sometimes, is sometimes we do keep walls up, and admittedly the walls are supposed to be there to protect us from things, so we don't want to take them down, but at the same time, oftentimes when we wall ourselves in and we box ourselves in, we isolate ourselves from other people in the outside world. So that's kind of the dilemma. So we do kind of see two sides of the paradigm, and it could be interpreted I feel like it. And I feel like it is done. This is done on purpose, but that neither side is necessarily wrong. I don't think the narrator's wrong for wanting the wall down because he does want that connection, but I also think the neighbor isn't necessarily wrong for wanting to keep the walls up. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes the walls are necessary. Sometimes the walls are there for protection, and I think that's the main thing that we're seeing here. And both people put the walls up. It's kind of too late to try to take them down now. But what side of the paradigm do you fall on is really up to you. But I can kind of see both sides, and I do kind of try to see both sides when it comes to really any situation, unless one side is totally in the wrong. But yeah, in this case, I can kind of see both sides. I can kind of see wanting the wall up, but I can also see why the wall may have to, not necessarily have to, but why the narrator may want the wall down. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for joining me once again in the Labyrinth. But thank you all so much for watching. And, if you did enjoy this video, please do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on the poems. What's your favorite poem? Do you agree or disagree with my analysis of the poems? And what's your take on each poem? What's your analysis of them? And of course, check out the Poetry Foundation, where I find most, if not all, of the poems I read here on Nigel Success from the Labyrinth. Those are in the description, so go check them out. So we do have kind of a special episode for episode 90 that I'm kind of putting together. I haven't finalized exactly what I want to do, but I kind of have an idea. But then episodes 91 through 95, we will be reading Macbeth, Shakespeare's Macbeth. Remember, previously we read Romeo and Juliet. So this time we're going to do another long reading. This time we're going to be reading Macbeth, and it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting. But nevertheless, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.